Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Students, in this lesson I will discuss about nature conservation. Conservation of nature means the conservation of natural resources. Everything that we use or consume, for example, food, petrol, is obtained from natural resources. So here are different renewable resources and non-renewable resources. Renewable resources, for example, air is reproduced easily, but the non-renewable resources, for example, minerals and fossil fuels, are not replenished. Once they get depleted, they will get extinct. We have to conserve the non-renewable resources because their reserves are limited and humans are heavily dependent on them for daily needs. The non-renewable resources to have to be used in optimum limits. To ensure use of resources in our environment, we should act upon the principle of 3R, which is the principle of 3R, which is first one is reduce, second one is reuse, and third one is recycle. For reduce, we will use the R1. In reduce or in the R1, we should use the natural resources less and should not waste them. We should use the principle at different places in our daily lives. We should not waste water, electricity, fuel. We should turn off the tap when not in use. We should bath with a bucket instead of a shower. The lights and fans should be off when we are not in a room. We should take a public transport like buses or walk short distances instead of using motor fuel. We should not waste food and should give unused food to poor people. The second one is the reuse or the R2. We should use things again and again. We should not throw away materials such as glass containers, plastic bags, paper and cloth. These should be used at domestic levels rather than being thrown. It also reduces solid waste pollution. The last one is the R3 or recycle. Minerals such as paper, plastic, glass can be recycled. This decreases the volume of reuse and helps the conservation of natural resources. Reduce is lowering the amount of waste produced. Reuse is the using materials repeatedly, and recycle is the using of materials to make new products. Did you know that a recycling of 1 ton of paper can save 17 trees? We can add the R4 strategy, that is reforestation. Trees should be planted during the rains. Trees make our environment more cool, shady and green. Next I will discuss about conservation planning or plans for the conservation of nature. In grade 9 we have studied the projects and plans of Pakistan for the conservation of wildlife, which is an important natural resource. The following, which are, first one is National Conservation Strategy. In 1992, Pakistan developed the National Conservation Strategy (NCS). The main objectives of the strategy are conservation of natural resources and improved efficiency in the use of resources. It also covers the policies for promoting efficiency and conservation of energy resources. Next one is National Drinking Water Policy, and we can also say this policy as National Drinking Water and Sanitation Policy. The Federal Ministry of Environment has launched the National Drinking Water and Sanitation Policy. It focuses on the provision of clean water to entire population and the conservation of water resources. Water purification plants are being installed all over the country. Next is UNDP. In 2006, UNDP launched the project Mass Awareness of Water Conservation and Management. This program, that was Mass Awareness of Water Conservation and Management, was launched by UNDP. The objective of the project was to launch a comprehensive awareness campaign for the conservation of and management of water resources in Pakistan. Next is the organization that is known as SCOPE. SCOPE, that is the Society for Conservation and Protection of Environment, works with the government for mass awareness and research for the conservation of natural resources in Pakistan. Clean water, air, fuels, agricultural land, and forests appear to be plentiful earlier, but now these are becoming less. It was continued depleting them like this. We will be creating unfold for ourselves and for our future generation. Next is the World WWF, old name is World Wildlife Fund, but now it is called World Wide Fund for Nature, is working on many projects related to conservation of nature. The first one is improving subwatershed management and environment awareness around Ayubia National Park. Next one is plantation of the tree that is known as Jatropha and mangroves of district Thatta Singh. Next is district wise forest cover assessment of Pakistan. Next is Saving Wetlands Sky High program for the conservation and management of high altitude wetlands. Next is Indus Basin Water Security Project to protect the water flow needed for the maintenance of river ecosystem and for the benefit of nearby areas. And the last one is regional climate risk reduction in Himalayas. Next I will share about Aedes aegypti, and I will share about basic information. Dengue fever is a viral infection transmitted through a mosquito that is known as Aedes aegypti. It has become a major health problem in tropical and subtropical countries, including Pakistan. There are 4 types of dengue virus. Recovery from infection by one provides immunity against that virus but provides no protection against infection by the other 3 viruses. Here I will discuss about the transmission of this virus. Viruses are transmitted through the female Aedes mosquito bite. The female Aedes mosquito gets the virus when it bites an infected person. When the infected mosquito bites another person, then viruses enter his or her blood and attack white blood cells. So here you are watching WBC, that are white blood cells. Inside white blood cells, viruses reproduce and destroy them. In severe cases, the virus affects liver and bone marrow. As a result, there is a decrease in the production of platelets. So, due to this virus, there will be a reduction in the platelets. The symptoms involve eye pain, muscle pain, bone pain, joint pain, headache, rash, and vomiting. Did you know that according to World Health Organization, there are 50 million dengue infections worldwide every year. Now there are 2.5 billion people at risk from dengue. So here is the life cycle of Aedes aegypti. It takes about 7 to 10 days for an egg to develop into an adult mosquito. So here is adult mosquito. Female mosquitoes lay eggs in containers that hold water. These are the eggs. Eggs hatch within a few days to months when covered with water. Here is the larva. Larvae live in water. They develop into pupa in as few as 5 days, and pupa live in the water. They develop into adult flying mosquitoes in 2 to 3 days. Did you know that sometimes the dengue fever converts into dengue hemorrhagic fever or into dengue shock syndrome? That is DSS. DHF, that is dengue hemorrhagic fever, results in the bleeding or low levels of blood platelets and blood plasma leakage, and in DSS, that is dengue shock syndrome, the blood pressure feels low. So here are the symptoms of dengue hemorrhagic fever: sudden onset fever, headache, mouth and nose bleeding, muscle and joints pain, vomiting, rash and diarrhea. I have discussed about dengue hemorrhagic fever. So for the control of this dengue fever, eliminate unnecessary container habitats that collect water. This strategy source reduction can be effective when performed regularly. And these are the habitats of this mosquito. Use OV trap. It is a black cylindrical container filled with water and covered with a mesh. The female Aedes aegypti lays eggs in the OV trap, and when the adult mosquito emerge, they are trapped beneath the mesh. There is no vaccine or treatment for dengue fever. At present, the only method of controlling dengue virus transmission is to check the spread of Aedes mosquito. Aedes aegypti breeds in the containers that are used for the storage, discarded plastic containers, and automobile tires and other items that collect rainwater. The mosquitoes can be controlled through proper solid waste disposal and improved water storage practices. Small fish can be controlled. Small fish and crustaceans have also been used for killing the larva of the mosquito. These are the insecticides, and insecticide sprays have not proved efficient in killing the mosquitoes because spray does not penetrate of habitats of adult mosquitoes. So, insecticides are the chemicals that are used to kill insects. So, that was all about conservation of nature and Aedes aegypti. I hope this lecture was a good source of information. Thank you and have a nice day.